welcome back, everyone. We're here with our amazing panel. Thank you so much for joining us. Let me go ahead and introduce them to you. And we have Scott Wardlow, who's the Managing Director at JPMorgan Chase. Thanks for joining us today, Scott.
Thanks, Chris.
And what do all these customers have in common? They've all transitioned off of PeopleSoft and onto our HCM Cloud. And they're all going to talk a little bit about their story and their journey. We're going to start off with a question for all of you. So we'll start with Scott. Scott, what are you live with in the cloud today? And what's next in your journey?
Sure. So Chris, as you're well aware, in partnering with us on this, we recently implemented Core HR and ORC, the Oracle Recruiting Cloud, at the end of May this year in 2020. We have chosen to implement by module globally. So we believe that the core needed to be in place for us to be able to take advantage of some of the other capabilities as you're bringing those online. Our next implementation, which we are staging about 6 months apart, is talent, learning, and performance management, which will go live at the end of October. We'll follow that up next year with U.S. payroll and timekeeping, which is really as far out as we plan at this point, but we plan on continuing to develop and roll out modules to replace our existing portfolio.
You guys did an amazing thing. JPMorgan Chase went live, really kind of at the heart of this pandemic. So how was it to, kind of continue and finish your implementation and post go live in a virtual world, everybody kind of working remotely? How has that been, and what lessons learned do you have?
Sure. So we were very nervous about that at first, as you can imagine, when we went to the full remote workforce, around losing productivity and not being able to execute an implementation or a cutover in a command center structure, which is something that we're very comfortable with within JPMorgan Chase, and something that all of the SIs that we've worked with and all the projects we've worked with over the years would highly recommend. I think we looked at it as a little bit of a risk reward in terms of all of the productivity that we would potentially lose by not having people in the same place. We felt we could compensate with by what were and have proven out to be reduced business volumes at the go live. And for that reason, we decided to move forward with a little bit of a greater tolerance for a margin of error. So because we're not hiring as many people as we would normally be doing, we're not moving the organization around as much. We were in a little bit of a static situation during that go live period. Things have picked up since, and they continue to pick up. It gave us a chance to leg into the system. And so everything that we lost during that implementation, which by the way, I think was less than what we thought, clearly bringing Zoom online very quickly, having direct connectivity to Oracle and the Oracle team being able to be online as quickly as they possibly were, as well as our SIs, made that gamble really turn out to be a great strategy in terms of the go live.
Yeah, you guys have just done an amazing job in managing through this, and we've done some of it together, but it's been great. JPMorgan Chase had a number of customizations that were important for you, and the bank with your on-premise PeopleSoft. How did that work with transitioning those to the cloud, and were you able to do that for the most part? Did you retire some? What happened
Sure.
there?
Well, we had over 30,000 customizations in PeopleSoft, not to mention we had built dozens of bespoke systems to sit around PeopleSoft, the PeopleSoft database, and the PeopleSoft ecosystem. And that was really the driver, the business value driver behind the decision to migrate off of PeopleSoft and into the Oracle HCM platform. As you know, Chris, we looked at the marketplace because we felt that rebooting our structure, our infrastructure, was necessary for us to get a level of simplification that fed not only the features that Kelly was talking about, which is how do you lead with digital first, is you have to start with simplified experiences and simplified processes. So we spent a great deal of time going back and renovating our processes. My partner, Janine Carlucci, and I spent months redesigning all of our global business processes and going to a simplified data model. the results of that were a trade-off. So while we may have less customization or specialization in the individual business processes for a specific geography or a specific line of business, what we ended up with was a more streamlined customer employee interaction. And the result of that for us was really around the data byproducts, is for us to be able to use the workforce data and reintroduce it into our business processes through artificial intelligence and machine learning, which we're partnering with you on. It was necessary for us to take a re-look at the data model and simplify the number of interactions and the data that we're capturing as part of those interactions. And for us, for that reason, the business case is compelling. We're saving time, we're saving money, and we're improving the experience by making that initial investment in that process simplification.
And I'll thank Scott and the JPMorgan Chase team. They partnered with us on our Oracle Recruiting Cloud. It was part of a commitment that we made early on in the sales process with them. And they really helped us design some key capabilities, which not only benefits JPMorgan Chase, but the rest of our customer base. JPMorgan Chase is now our largest customer live on Oracle Recruiting Cloud, and has given us fantastic feedback. So thank you for that, Scott.
And the feedback keeps coming on Oracle Recruiting Cloud, as you know. Yeah.
We love it. We're here to continue to make things better and innovate. And this is where we have customers like you that push.
The recruiters love it. The recruiters love it. So it's a great place to start.
We've been working together for a while now, and just like to hear from you what the partnership looked like through your implementation, and then like we said, you've been live for about 3 months. Since you've been live, how has that partnership changed, and how has the partnership been throughout the implementation?
Sure, Chris, and I think, as you know, when we were looking at the marketplace for a SaaS solution, we more or less made our decision based on the partnership and the confidence in the partnership between JPMC and Oracle. And I think that you have very gracefully led us from that sort of pre-selection process through the selection process, and now into the implementation with the same level of support that we saw at the early stages of it, if not more. And I think what we're seeing is access to the engineering teams at Oracle, the development teams specifically, have really accelerated our ability to implement on the track and the trajectory that we had scheduled. The relationships that we have built through the implementation, the challenges that we had, are ones that I think will carry us to the next generation of releases that we're putting in place. And while I think we have contributed to the community in terms of our requirements and our our demands on the product, I think we have been met successfully with Oracle in any challenges that we've overcome. And I think that was the reason why we selected you, and it's proven to be true to this point.
You guys have just gone live, and you have a few follow-up releases that you're gonna go live with. But you have a vision for how we're gonna work together and how you're gonna kind of ride that innovation curve. So we'd love to hear what that looks like.
Well, no, and I think you've kind of summarized it, which is really the primary benefit that we saw to making the jump from PeopleSoft to Oracle HCM, which was an investment on behalf of our business, was that we would get the benefit of Oracle's investment in the product and the innovation that they're bringing to the table, and then we would get that much quicker than we would in the PeopleSoft environment, where we were doing upgrades every 3 to 5 years. So getting a release every quarter of new functions, new features, having input into that, and having the benefit of seeing what our peer group, like Kelly and Rudy, are doing to exploit that, we found was a real benefit to our business. And those are tangible savings to our businesses. They are improved satisfaction for our employees. And what we are really looking to exploit is the connection between the management of the firm, the people that lead our teams, and the employees of the firm, and make those interactions of higher value. And we see those coming with each release, each successive release on a quarterly basis, and it's a huge lift for us.
And Scott has payroll in the future that will be going live in the future, but I will, and I don't know if you want to make any comments, but we did get one fantastic requirement from the JPMorgan Chase team that we've actually subsequently implemented, and it's a feature now called Pay Me Now. Do you want to say anything about that? It was something that we heard from them, we loved it, and we built it. So I don't know if you want to talk briefly about that, Scott.
Sure. So as part of one of our meetings, customer meetings, I'm not sure exactly how it came up, but the feedback came back that our focus as a company has been, how do we, are there things that we can do to improve the financial security of our lower paid employees? And one of the things that we found was that there was an overutilization of short-term lending facilities, and that this was something that we felt was not necessarily in the employee's best interest long-term to be leveraging these things, because of the expense associated with them was disabling their ability to build the nest egg necessary to be able to weather budget variance for the household. So we brought this up to Chris, and it was a requirement directly from the most senior person in our company that we should partner with Oracle instead of going to market and looking for a way to advance our employees on their next paycheck or the paycheck after that. And Oracle made it their journey and mission to deliver that, and they delivered it before we were even able to implement payroll. So the product is ready for the broader consumption, and we intend on using it when we go live with our payroll early next year. So thank you for that partnership, and you saved us another bespoke application and another vendor in a portfolio of hundreds of applications that we're trying to rationalize. So great proof of our partnership.
Yeah, I always say that most of the great ideas come from our great customers, and this was one that we heard and we absolutely loved it. And I think you asked again, and we're like, we're already bought in. So we thought it was such a compelling story, and something that all our customers are excited about. So thank you for that.